Jay here from Stretford Paddock. This is the Paddock Podcast, and it's only right for a proper podcast. You want two proper podcasters, and we've got none other than 33.3% of the Sloppy Joes podcast themselves. Mr. Joe Smith.
How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good. We're actually 66.6%.
Oh, yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, wow. Unless we don't know.
Well, I consider Ethan James to be 2/3 of that podcast, just in talent, ability, and work rate.
It's an interesting point you bring up there, Jay. I don't think it's the case though. But thank you very much for the invite.
How are you doing, Jay? What are we talking about today?
With Mr. Joe McGrath, who I've not introduced yet. It's always good to see you.
Great to see everyone.
We're talking about contracts, yeah? Contractual obligations, right? Because you've got the likes of Marcus Rashford, Diogo Dalot, Luke Shaw, Fred, all out of contract in the next 18 months, I believe. So there's a lot of talk that they could be going. Barcelona, PSG, circling, like the vultures they are for our prime players. So we're asking the question, do we need to tie these guys down to a long-term deal? Have we learned any lessons? Because Manchester United in the past have gone, what's that, Ashley Young? Your contract's about to end and you're 33 years old. Let's give you a 3-year deal. What's that in the Man United? You've had two good games, and you're 30-odd. Let's give you a 4-year deal. We've had these sort of situations in the past. We've made mistakes.
Done well.
But then you look at it now and you go, the likes of Dalot, the likes of Fred, especially Marcus Rashford, playing very well for Manchester United. You'd want to get him side down. His star's rising very high. So should United offer him a long-term deal, and do we need to get that deal done sooner rather than later? Get involved in the chat and the comments. I want to hear what you guys think. Should we get straight into it?
Yeah.
The big one.
Let's just go. Let's just do it.
Let's do it.
Get into
Talk
it.
about Marcus Rashford, because Eric Ten Hag's spoken about him a lot. We know that there's a real interest there from PSG. That interest has been going on for at least 3 or 4 years, whenever it was he first scored in Paris, to be honest. Do you want to see him, Joe McGrath, I'll start with you. Do you want to see United sign Marcus Rashford down to a long-term deal? And are you worried that he could end up leaving?
I think the worrying thing about the whole contract situation is that the people in charge of the money, e.g. the owners at the minute, try and get rid of us. So they may see any contract deals in the future being money that they don't need to spend at the minute, in terms of if there's sort of signing on fees or agent fees that they'd have to put the cash down straight away. It's kind of like selling a house and then doing up the kitchen last minute. Do you know what I mean? Or buying stuff like changing the wallpaper or something like that. It's like, I'm just going to sell this house and then I don't need to spend any more money on this place, because once I've done with it, then it's not mine to be bothered about. So I'm worried that we need Marcus Rashford down on a good deal, because imagine if he goes on a free, it'd be incredibly bad business. But unfortunately, the people in charge of the money at the minute are trying to get rid of, trying to sell us. So why would they splash any cash that's unnecessary for them? I'm worried about this contract stuff, because then a new owner comes in and he's like, fucking hell, I got work to do here.
Just as a sort of swift rebuttal to that.
I like a rebuttal.
Yeah.
I'm looking at buying a house at the minute. Right. And the new owners are about to change the boiler. So
he's just destroyed your argument there.
Why are they changing the boiler? Just leave you with the shit one.
I think it's because I don't want to get into that on camera, but I think it might have failed a...
if it's failed, if it's failed, you got to.
Is there still hope in the world? Although I don't hold out the same hope with the Glazers.
Is there not a point?
I do agree with you
with United and this sale, right? Whoever comes in has got to redo the training ground, redevelop the stadium, which could cost £1 billion.
1.2 to 1.6 apparently.
If we start, or if the owners go, oh, by the way, some of your best players are leaving. Is that not just selling something
that's bad? It's a doer-upper, some might say.
Yeah, like, do you not at least have to go, okay, you've got to do the training ground, you've got to do the stadium, but you're taking over a club that's got a very strong young squad. Now, Marcus Rashford is one of our best players. He is. The other players we've got are in that sort of, you might say, a bit better, or around that same sort of level of ability, like Bruno Fernandes, you could argue. Obviously, Casemiro, Varane, those types of players. But Varane and Casemiro are 29, 30? I think Bruno's 28.
Yeah,
so there's not a lot of, there's no resale value for these players. They're just,
unless they were to be sold now.
Yeah.
Which obviously no one wants to do.
And also, in terms of longevity, you're probably going to get a maximum of sort of 3 or 4 years out of them. Maybe Bruno you can get 5 out of. Yeah. Marcus, you can hopefully get at least 6 or 7 years out of him.
Yeah.
It just seems to me that you're already selling something that's going to need a lot of money spent on it. Yeah. If you start selling something with players leaving that the new owner's going to want, that makes it less of a valuable asset.
I would say so,
not?
especially when I know Rashford's on a lot of money, but he's not on like Ronaldo money. He's not on even Sancho money, which again is maybe we can point to that later on down the show
money.
about that's what
I
I'm saying. So
cash.
like he's on a lot of money. He's one of United's biggest earners, but he's not on so much money where you go, I can't believe we've done this. Like what is going on? He's not on Sanchez money. So I think for me, Marcus Rashford taking out this sort of ownership point of it of who's going to own the club, because I obviously care about that, but in terms of the football side it's irrelevant. I want Marcus Rashford to stay at Man United because I think we were talking about this before, where you kind of look at like almost this sort of through line of talent and players to come through the academy and to sort of continue that kind of world class or thereabouts mantle at Manchester United. And it's sort of, there was a little break there, but Rashford's kind of taken that on from Giggs and Scholes and that era, and he's the only one really where you could argue he's come through the academy in the last 7 or 8 years, and he is world class, and he seems to want to stay. Like I think, or whether he's world class or not is up for debate, but he's certainly in that conversation when he's at his best. And I think that we don't have many people like that. We don't have many people that you can emotionally cling on to, and he's one of the very few for me where you think, if Man United are winning, he loves that as much as I do.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the players there, you look at Ronaldo as a great example, he doesn't really care what's happening on the pitch as long as he's doing all right. Yeah. And I don't feel like that's quite the case with Rashford. I think last season really hurt him, and I think his personal form and the United's form generally really affected him. And I want people like that at Man United.
Where do you think his head's at?
I don't know, because you hear sort of stories, don't you, rumours that he might be open to a move, and he might not be overly impressed by the fact that his contract, which has just apparently been extended, the 1 year deal, the 1 year extension has been triggered by the club, I think. There's a story in the Telegraph saying that Manchester United are activating it or are ready to activate it. So it might not have been activated, but they will do. Yeah. But there's stories that maybe he wasn't too impressed with the fact that the club have let it get to this point and not come in and gone. And there's that sort of thing of, as well, it happens in any industry. If you're struggling a bit and then people aren't showing you the love when you're struggling, and then all of a sudden you're flying, and then people go, actually, now we'll give you... You can hold a little bit of a resentment there, can't you? You can be like, oh, right, now I'm banged in, 8 goals, whatever it is, this season, and I'm flying and I'm banging in goals in the World Cup. Now you want to offer me a deal. But last season, when my head wasn't great, I wasn't scoring a lot of goals, you know what I mean? I was in and out of the team. You didn't want to know about contract extension. Then. We used to hear that a lot with Pogba, didn't we? Where he'd have these things where he was ready to sign a new deal, but the club wasn't, and then when he wasn't, the club wasn't, all this sort of stuff. And I just wonder whether that has affected Marcus a little bit, whether he feels a little bit like the club didn't back him fully when he was struggling, because there was stories, last season, when Ralph Rangnick dropped him basically, and Elanga was getting in front of him. He wasn't happy, and he didn't. The club hadn't come in with a contract offer. Abhinav Verma says in the super chat, "Hi guys, it's my birthday today, and I had one question for you guys as a non-Mancunian. What is a Greggs that Howson keeps raving about?" I'll turn to our resident fast food takeaway type expert there. I don't want to say. I say this because you do content around.
I don't remember the last time I reviewed a pie.
Content around food.
Pasty Gobbler.
Pasta Gobbler.
Yes.
Roll Muncher. It's just a bakery, innit? It's a lovely bakery founded in Newcastle by John Gregg. I actually know.
Jesus Christ.
And they've got
walking
loads.
Wikipedia.
I think I did a round on Greg's in my quiz not long ago. And it's just mint, sausage rolls, pizzas, nice cheese bean and sausage melt is one of my favourite dishes.
Steak bake's my favourite.
Steak bake, the festive bake this time of year.
Yeah. You're into your ham and cheese lattice, aren't you?
What is that?
No, they don't do a ham and cheese lattice, do they?
Do you know the first Greggs drive-through in Britain was in Earlham?
Really?
Yeah.
Is it still there?
Oh, yeah. Very going strong. And it's paved the way for others.
That's it.
They've seen the success of that one and gone, we've got to have more of these. Yeah. But the first one, the inaugural drive-through in Britain,
That's good. Do you know the first
M44.
There's any chance there was one in another country before?
I know, but I like to.
Do you know the first Mackey's drive-through in the UK was in Fallowfield?
Was it? See, Manchester's pioneering a way for fast food.
And earrings.
I don't like the fact that Greg sells pizza, Seems wrong.
Shut up.
Well, it's just like...
Oh, I bet you don't like that it sells wedges and chicken strips either.
The chicken strips are good, Jay. Don't look down on them.
Pizza, I don't know, it feels like... Sticks to...
Anyway,
happy birthday to you, by the way.
Mate. Go have yourself a pastry or something.
Yeah.
To celebrate.
How crazy is it, Joe, to you that we could be in a situation here where, you're talking about our sort of, stars of the academy and the ones that have come through. Mason Greenwood, there's a good chance he never plays for Manchester United again.
Yeah, I don't
Marcus,
see how he will.
I know, yeah. And Marcus Rashford leaves.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on there? Who we got next? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's not. It's like this club that's sort of founded on the principles of our academy coming through. I know the Greenwood thing's obviously totally separate, but for Rashford, surely we've got to tie him down because this is a player who, he's 25 now. He's enjoying his best ever season in terms of goals and assists by this time of the season. I don't think he's had as a productive start to the season.
Yeah.
Also for England, he's flying. He's got his first World Cup goal, first World Cup goals. Also player of the match against Wales as well. So he's absolutely flying. I mean, where do you stop though? Where you, as a club, where do you go? Right, we can give you so much, but there's a limit because the total Paris Saint-Germain offering him 850k a week.
Fucking
hell. That's not going to happen.
That can't be right.
But for them, that could, because you think about it, right? That is around roughly 40 million quid a year, perhaps.
Well, after tax.
Yeah. If you were to buy Marcus Rashford, what would he cost you? 80, 90 million maybe.
Yeah.
So you're not paying any transfer fee.
You wouldn't begrudge Rashford if you went for that, would you? How would you look upon it? Would you? Don't be tight.
No, I'm not being tight, but if Manchester United are going to offer you a lot of money to stay, and they want you to stay, and you're a United fan, you should stay.
I didn't know the counterbalance there.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the idea that if Marcus Rashford was, say, 32 and he spent 12 years at United, and then or 15 or whatever, and then this offer came in, and it was like, look, I can go and spend a couple of years, wind down my career at Paris for a ridiculous amount of money, I'd be like, you know what, you've earned it. But he should be part for me of the rebuilding almost of Manchester United, getting us that first trophy since 2017. And no disrespect to Marcus, I absolutely love him. He's my favourite player. But those trophies that he won, he played his part, but he wasn't like he won us the Europa League, he won us the FA Cup, he won us the League Cup. He didn't. And I think if he was to win a trophy now, he would be a massive part of that. Yeah. And I'd like to see him stick around. And I know you're going to come in. Mm-hmm. I still have, look at someone like Brian Robson, who carried that team for years. And yes, he was paid a lot of money for it, but he had loads of opportunities to leave, and he didn't. He stuck around and eventually delivered 2 titles, or helped deliver 2 titles. Yeah. So I am of the opinion that if you are a United fan and you care about this club and you're offered a lot of money and you've got a manager who believes in you, stay.
Yeah, me too.
Why should you leave?
Also, when is the last time that an academy player, I know Paul Pogba obviously was from the academy, but when did he join United? Was he 16 when we signed him?
Oh yeah, Paul Pogba was never an academy graduate. He came from Le Havre.
He came to the under-18s,
16.
From where?
Le Havre, is it?
Le Havre.
But they kicked off, Le Havre, sorry. They kicked off because groom's the wrong word, but they'd nurtured him.
Yeah.
As a sort of 8-year-old or whatever he was. They thought, this is going to be the future, so at least we'll get some money for him. And United came in when he was 16 and come and join our academy.
When's the last time a player that's come through the United's academy from, a real young age, 13 or thereabouts, and then has decided to leave? We've wanted to keep him, and they've gone, no, I'm leaving. When's the last time that happened? Did Phil Neville decide to leave? Or was he kind of pushed out?
Along with like Nicky Butt.
Yeah, I think they were just sort of... They
were allowed to leave though, weren't they?
Yeah.
I think they weren't first teamers.
Has it ever happened?
As in, what do you mean? So they've grown up for the academy.
And obviously Paul Pogba would be an example of this, but I'm kind of cutting that out because he didn't really spend much of his academy years at Man United, really.
Are we going back
But let's say,
are we going all the way back, right? And please get involved in the chat in the comments. Are we talking like Mark Hughes in 1984 or whatever?
Is it? This like, just
what about Madrid and Beckham? Would that not be one?
Again, wasn't Fergie like...
No, well, he was told to leave.
Fergie, I felt Fergie had enough of him. Which
just doesn't happen.
Bonkers because he's mint.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't know. Maybe Beckham did choose rather than we chose to sell him. I don't know. Yeah. But it doesn't happen very often.
No. Robbie Savage, probably he wanted out, didn't he?
Fergie said, I'm going to build a team around you. And he went, no, I'm going to Crewe Alexander. Frank Underwood says, what about Yunus Musa from Valencia, available for around 20 million quid? Don't know much about him. No, not for you.
It's good enough.
We've got some messages.
I paid 15.
Well, not messages. We know that it is the season for clean balls.
Balls out.
Yes, our friends at Manscaped are helping you clear your driveway for safe travels this holiday season. From stocking stuffers to gift exchanges, Manscaped's products are at the top of every wish list.
You're stuffing those stockings that you want today, Jay.
I am stuffing my stockings. I've already got into the Christmas festive period of eating.
You're almost getting out.
Yeah. So why don't you grab some crops What? Grab some crop mops for your pops.
So what's really good is they've made this script nice and big for you to see.
I know. Or the shampoo for your boo, right? Be the start of gifting season and help all the men in your life go from eggnog to nice hog. Now, I've always struggled with that line.
What's a nice hog?
I think
Your balls?
eggnog to nice hog.
Wow.
So what is it saying that you
I'd go Bailey's to lick these.
Nice. From
pure filth.
snowball to no balls.
Mince pies to in your eyes.
Yeah, to hi guys. So all you gotta do is go to manscaped.com and use the code DEVILS20 for 20% off and free shipping. That is code DEVILS20. Now we've all been trimming, we've all been keeping an eye on things because it's not the 70s anymore. We've all been doing this for a while.
No.
I once bought, and I'm ashamed to say this.
Here we go.
It was a £5 trimmer, which is basically
That's heavy.
how can you even do
Hey, get the Sloppy Joe's podcast, where you get your podcast from?
£5 sterling.
Are you doing an advert?
Should be doing
We're doing an advert.
It's not fucking
Are you doing an advert for
Inception.
yourself
Sorry.
in the middle of an
Sorry, I
advert?
shouldn't be doing that. Sorry.
Right, yeah, thank you.
I
Continue.
paid $4.99 for it from a local high street chemist's.
Yeah.
Why'd you say
A local
chemist?
high street chemist.
Yeah,
Well, did this chemist have a car boot?
Was it?
he didn't have a car. But what I will tell you is, I used that thing on my spuds once,
Yeah.
and I'm not joking. Have you ever hoovered the tasseled edge of a Moroccan carpet?
Constantly.
And what do you get?
Just fluff everywhere.
Fluff everywhere, but also it sucks all the edge in.
Yeah.
It took my ball bag for a walk.
Oh.
Did it?
Honestly.
No one wants
and
that.
I started to like pull it out, and there was like a line of dots where the entire thing had just been mangled by this thing.
Yeah.
You can't do it. It's not worth it. Don't use this
don't use
subpar
shit.
shit.
Yeah, don't use
use
shit.
Manscaped.
Yeah, because you've had the best of both worlds, well, the worst of that world and the best of this world, haven't you? Because you've had the platinum package, yeah,
Montana.
which is the 4.0, which is what we're talking about here. Not his, backstreet chemist in inverted commas
Yeah.
selling him a
Cohen's, was
basically a potato peeler to do
An
your
electric
spuds with.
potato
An
peeler.
electric potato peeler.
Yeah, yeah.
We're talking about 4.0, the technology, yeah?
best.
The best, yeah? Because with Manscaped, you get a lot of offers. You get the shampoos, the body washes, the upstairs, downstairs deodorant, the gels, absolutely everything you can want. You've got the skin-safe technology on the electric razor, which is the Lawnmower 4.0. When someone says to me about a 3.0 or 2.0, I get
You
angry
laugh,
and
don't you?
violent. I go the other way.
You piss your pants.
Infuriates me. I
I was going
absolutely...
to say piss your pants.
With anger.
I was going to say what Joe just said then. bro.
You piss your pants with anger, don't
I've
you?
not pissed my pants in weeks.
He pisses himself so hard that even
Yeah.
through his jeans there's like a projectile stream of piss.
That's what happens when people say if you use the 2.0 or the 3.0. I'm on the 4.0, baby. Come on with the skin safe technology.
yeah.
You've got all that. You've got the weed whacker to do the nose and the ears when you get to my age. You need a bit of all that, don't you? The crop shaver with those 3 blades. You've got everything, right? The boxer briefs with anti-chafing technology that, don't let your chestnuts roast in the wrong boxers. That's all I can say.
please don't.
So if you want all this, use the code DEVILS20. Go to manscaped.com. You get 20% off, free shipping. There's a link in the description. Your jingle balls will thank you.
Yes. Just be careful if you've been outside all day in -2 degrees because your balls might look like the inside of a hispy cabbage this afternoon. You ever seen
One
that?
time my penis was so small that it actually got caught in the machinery because the trimmer thought it was a pube.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that
make
is-
sure
How do your balls
you
look in the cold after the cold?
They look all right. Yeah, well, I'll show you in a bit after this. We'll go outside and you can have a look.
Should we move on?
I think we should.
Great read.
We've
Yeah.
got a couple of other people. So Marcus Rashford. But let's also talk about Garnacho. Let's talk about Fred. Let's talk about Dillon.
Yeah, Garnacho's a good one, isn't he? Because Garnacho is one of those players, or one of the sort of players that gets you excited. You look at him, you go, "Wow, this kid has really got it." Because when it comes to players like a lot of the sort of the players we've had in the past, who these sort of academy stars, there's a little bit of doubt there, isn't there? Like Tahith Chong was raved about for years. Angel Gomez, who I really liked, was raved about. And you look at them and you go, "No, they're good. Are they that level? Are they the player that can really take, get into the United's first team and sort of make a difference?" But with Garnacho, you look at him, you think he actually could. He already is.
Yeah. Well, the
What are
thing
you
with,
laughing
I
at?
don't know. He just started laughing. The thing is with Garnacho.
I'm not having you two on here again if
The
you're gonna
thing is
mess
with
him
Garnacho, I'm really worried that there's hype around him now at the minute, and that agents will take advantage of that when it comes to these contract negotiations, where they'll look at maybe not even signing like a long one, 4 to 5 years. Maybe they'll look at making it short and sweet, 2 to 3 years, because they know if this Garnacho kid does step up and become one of United's best players, then that contract needs to be renewed sooner, because he's going to be worth a lot more than what he's on at the minute. But you can't make a massive jump from the age of, what is he, 18 now, to be on 100 grand a week, can you? What would you sign him for?
The rumour that I saw was thought to be around 50,000.
Yeah.
Which is 10 times what he's on now.
But then in 2 years' time, if he's a worldie...
Well, then he'll get another one. That's what happens. But like you said, you can't go straight up to the big numbers now, because let's say in 2 years' time, if he is, and this is no knock on Garnacho, but if we just look at the sort of typical path for an academy player, they get into the first team, they have a few games, they tend to impress because you've got that sort of early low expectation. Then all of a sudden you sign a new deal, you have the expectation of every other first team player, which is to play well every week, and if not, you're gone. Most academy players, even at this stage, don't make it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that will be the case with him, but United can't look at him and go, you look great, let's give him 150 grand a week. I think the 50 that we're hearing sounds to me like a sort of feasible number. But
yeah,
again,
50
it's
is
such a
how long
jump,
for?
innit?
What, 3 years?
Well, given the
3 year deal, a 6 year deal.
Yeah, because
Would his agent take
the
that?
problem with that is though, if the problem with that is, firstly, you think sign him on a big deal because obviously he stays longer. But if he's really good, he's going to be getting a deal bigger than 50 grand within a year.
Yeah.
And if he's shit, you've got a player that's shit for 6 years. So you might as well give him like a 3 year, 4 year deal.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're just going to lose a player that's
3 years.
no good anyway.
Yeah, but I think it's a massive couple of games for Garnacho, whatever he does now between now and the end of the season, because it will set that stall out on how much he will get offered, because he's got to be someone you're looking at for the future. Yeah. He's got to be someone you're tying down to a good 3-4 year deal, because you want to see where the progression is in terms of their footballing skills. Yeah. He's one that looks hungry, looks like he's on fire, and we all sort of love him at the club because we're putting our trust in him maybe being the next star.
Speaking of looking hungry, Luke Shaw's another one that has got a potential 1 year extension. Would you give him one?
Yeah, I'd give him the extra year. I mean, in that England...
Would you try and get him on a
longer one? Would you try and offer him longer? How old are you now? 27, 28?
Yeah, Luke Shaw's 27, I think.
I mean, what? How long do you want to keep Luke Shaw to? And he's a roller coster rider of a player in terms of he'll have an up down season. So, do you want to splash cash on that for 3 to 4 years, or do you want to just buy someone else?
What would you do, Jay? Luke Shaw? Would you give him
the about Luke Shaw is, when he's good, he's very good. But he has these spells where he's awful. And it's like, now he's playing well, it's easy to go, right, okay, you know what,
yeah,
great, get him tied down. But as soon as his motivation, for whatever reason, just drops off, he just loses it completely. Like, over the course of his 8 years at United, I would say at least 5 years of that, he hasn't been that good. Now, I know he was injured. I forgive him, forgive him is the wrong word, but I can, we can accept that he was injured and he was, he had a serious injury. But there was spells after that where he came back and was good again and then went awful. There was a spell under last season, for example, he was terrible. He was. Do you know what I mean? And then this season, he's been mint. After a poor start, as soon as Malacia's sort of come in and looked like being first choice, as soon as Malacia was getting the nod ahead of him, Luke Shaw's rejuvenated himself into the best left back, in years. Yeah. So my worry is, if you tie him down, is he going to stay motivated? And I think that the one good thing we can say is with Ten Hag, he won't take any messing. If Luke Shaw drops off, as long as we've got Malacia, I don't think he's as good as Luke Shaw. I don't think his ceiling's anywhere as near as high as Luke Shaw's, but he's a decent player.
Yeah, he's a decent player, isn't he?
So if he does drop off, Luke Shaw will be out. Not necessarily sold,
so would you,
but out of the team.
Would you give him an extension, or would you let him go this year, Luke Shaw?
Is it this year?
I think so.
Oof. You give him an extension.
We'll double check that, actually. When does Luke Shaw's contract run out?
But I'd give him the extension.
Would you? I think you probably would have to, because he's playing so well. I don't think you can afford to just let him go.
No.
But I just think that, to let him go would be a bit of too much of a risk. Because if he carries on, I know it's a big if, playing the way he is, you're not going to get a left back as good as him.
Yeah.
Like Malacia's not, I don't think, and I love it if you prove me wrong, I don't think Malacia will reach the level that Luke Shaw is at now anytime soon. He might do eventually, he's only a youngster. But I don't think he will anytime soon.
I don't think he will anyway. I think Luke Shaw's
because Luke Shaw was this good at 18.
Yeah.
He's just have these sort of peaks and troughs. Daniel Kirk says, I know you guys may not have noticed, but been away for a bit. Missed you, lads. Good to see you back. Daniel, there's another super chat.
Good to see you back, Daniel, mate.
Daniel Kirk also says 2 words, England, lol. Just quickly on England. I don't think we've spoken about it, us three. We was doing the watch along.
The Rashford situation in England was just, for me, is just the downfall of Southgate, or the Southgate's this weird. He's got favourite situations.
What would you have done? Brought him on earlier?
Well, Sterling coming on, the poor Sterling's had a horrific thing to go through, and I know he would have been hungry to play, but you've got your top goal scorer sitting on the bench, and he's a top goal scorer for a reason. I would have put him on a lot earlier, and it's very it's reactive management. He goes down, he puts attacking players on. We should have just gone for it when we got 1-1. Just think, fuck it, these French are there for the taking. Not a great French side. Defence look poor. I've got Rashford sitting on the bench here. Let's get him on. Let's
capitalise on getting this goal back.
But he didn't. We had to wait till 2-1 down.
Let's punish him for it.
Yeah. So that's my fault. I think a better manager wins that game. More attacking manager wins that game.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, to be honest. I think he gets a lot of unfair stick, Southgate, but I do think he made mistakes in that game.
Yeah.
I understand why he didn't start Rashford.
Yeah.
Because Saka, I think, had got 3 goals as well, so it's not like Saka wasn't
I
performing.
kind of get
but I just think
me and you were talking about
should have just brought him on earlier.
The whole Sterling thing baffled me because I thought Saka was playing really well.
Yeah, same.
He's one of those players where you don't know what's going to happen next.
Causing them problems. They were committing so many fouls on him, and he looked like our best option for another goal. And then to take him off for a player who's been on a plane for 2 days of the last 5 or whatever it is, not trained, and also
Head must be all over the place.
And also, Marcus is flying at the minute.
Yeah, and also Sterling was shit before that happened.
Yeah,
he was.
He was really poor the first couple of games, the first game or whatever it was that he played. He wasn't good.
I don't get that. Like, if you're gonna bring someone on with 20 minutes to go, it's got to be Marcus.
Yeah, and you've got a manager in terms of Ten Hag who, you'd like to think he knows what he's talking about, saying that Rashford is one of the best in the world, and lines him alongside Mbappe in his comments. And for him to be sat on a bench for so long and only coming on as a reaction, it kind of, for me, like, why you've got so much talent there. And we talk about England's talent, and I think Southgate is a great manager in terms of bringing the team together, and that team spirit looks like it's stronger than ever. But I really don't think he knows what to do with the best attacking lineup in the world at the minute, because that's what he's got.
Do you think he has got the best attacking lineup in the world?
Look at that. I mean, in terms of
I think
depth.
it is.
No, I'm not.
The ones that you would compare it with are Argentina, Brazil, and France. I think they're the 3 that can compete. I think Argentina have obviously got Messi. I still don't think England have got anyone as good as him, even though he's 35.
Yeah.
But after that, Lautaro Martinez is nowhere near as good as even our options off the bench. He's not as good as Rashford or Grealish or Foden. Then they've got... Who else have they got? Argentina up front. They've got not Alvarez, sorry.
Yeah, well, they have.
Is it Uruguay, isn't he? Oh, man, confused.
No, the kid at City.
Alvarez is that I don't know.
Yeah.
City's? Does he
so
play
they've got
up
him
top?
who's decent. But again, it's not like Rashford.
Julian Alvarez?
Yeah, he is from Argentina.
Yeah.
Pardon me, sorry.
Sorry, I was getting confused. I thought
he was, but then I corrected myself.
Julian Alvarez is the kid that Ralph Rangnick said we should have signed.
Who's
we
a good
didn't.
player,
he went to City,
but he's not as good as...
He's doing well. He's done his goal scoring record's quite decent. He's young though. He's 22. So.
Yeah, and he's a good player, but he's not as good as players that England have got. Brazil... I don't think any of their front line is as good as Kane except Neymar, so they sort of cancel each other out.
And also, let's not,
we've got
like there's this
players.
sort of revisionism. Richarlison's all right. He's not that good.
No, he's had a good World Cup.
Yeah,
he's had a good
but
World
he's not
Cup.
like
He's not amazing.
He's 4th choice at Spurs, or whatever. Like he's a good player, but he's not like you go. Like he's not for me. I don't care what anyone says. Richarlison's not in the same levels as Rashford.
Yeah,
I think you put them both in the same team. I think Rashford gets you far more goals and assists.
That's what I mean. I feel like they've got that talent there, and they need to do something with a quick one.
Yeah, I hear that, and I think with Southgate, there's always been this sort of a ceiling, and the big games. People were sort of pulling him up on his World Cup record, saying that during his time as a manager, we've only beaten like Panama, Tunisia, Sweden, Colombia on pens and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, but also...
No, that's what I'm getting. Let me finish.
Yeah, sorry.
But the thing is, I've had it in as a fan. I'm sure you guys are old enough to remember it as well. Where we didn't even qualify for World Cup. We were in groups with Dross and we failed to qualify, or we got to World Cup, under Hodgson and got beat off everyone or drew with everyone. So you can't just take it for granted that you'll beat teams that you should beat, because that in the past hasn't happened. Yeah. No. Do you know what I mean? Iceland knocks us out of the Euros. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah. So I thought you were. That was the point I was getting to. Like, I understand there is a time when you think, can Southgate get past an Italy or a Croatia or a France? And he hasn't done it yet. And will he get
Except
there?
Germany.
I don't want to be like dismiss Germany. Do you rate that Germany team?
But I don't think that matters because this Croatian team, by any metric, shouldn't be as good as it is. Yeah, it's beat Brazil again. Their best player is 37. Like, you can't just... I mean, I know you weren't necessarily saying that, but I don't think you can say, oh, well, Germany weren't the team they were, so it doesn't count. Well, all right, unless you beat the 19...
I'm not saying it doesn't count.
90 Germany, do you not get any credit for it?
And was it at Wembley?
Yeah.
I'd expect us to beat them.
Yeah.
I think that game, England against that Germany team, at home, come on. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but the other problem is though, when you talk about expecting to beat teams and that whole thing, you see on Twitter a lot of like, Southgate doesn't beat teams that we are underdogs against. But look who's won the last like 7 or 8 World Cups. Every team that's won the World Cup has barely beaten any teams better than them. France were the best team and they won the World Cup. Germany were the best team when they won the World Cup. Spain were by far the best team when they won the World Cup. Yeah. Italy and France were probably the 2 best teams. Look at that Italy squad when they won the World Cup. Brazil, by far the best team when they won the World Cup. France, like, it was between France and Brazil, so maybe that was one slight upset. But
do you think we overrate our team, though?
Because you're saying team that wins it.
You're saying, the best attack, and I kind of agree with that. I think it was Jamie Redknapp. Jamie Carragher saying this England team has been the best team in the World Cup so far. And I think, you're fucking mental.
Who was that?
I don't know if I might agree with that.
Really?
We are a good team.
Up until that France game, who had been better?
Like,
yeah, well, he's beating them in kind of style.
That's the thing, no one had beaten anyone.
Morocco have beaten haven't they beaten everyone?
No, well, they got 7 points in the group.
But they beat, didn't they? Who did they beat? They beat fucking Spain and Portugal.
Yeah, but I think if you look at the style of the result, I'm not knocking Morocco.
What have you got to do to be like...
sort of top 3 for me, because I've done like a little ranking, just a personal.
They beat Belgium.
Yeah, who were shit.
Belgium.
I'm not
dead.
If we're knocking Germany last
right, but that's nothing to do with it.
To be fair, this Morocco team...
We've beaten no one. They've beaten Portugal, Spain and Belgium.
Yeah.
And that we're having a better...
Yeah, but it's not because they've got a good attack. They've got a good team.
We're not dismissing them.
No, but we can't have Portugal.
I'm not dismissing them.
The same metric that we're using for us, we're not using for them.
Okay, well, let's stop then. You have to take the Portugal one away because that was before this round. You can't say up until the quarterfinals.
He said this World Cup, we've been the best team in this World Cup.
Okay, I didn't really. I thought it was before the quarterfinals.
I think Morocco have.
Okay.
Because I think they've beaten fucking mint teams.
I think we beat Morocco.
I think that's just English fucking jingoism. We've been the best team in this World Cup. We beat Senegal. We beat Iran. We drew with USA and we beat Wales. And if I'm Moroccan, I'm going, hang on a minute. We've beaten fucking mint teams.
Yeah.
And you're the best team. How? I don't get that.
Post-Portugal, I would agree.
He said that, that's a different... But
I thought he meant before the quarterfinals.
No, he said this World Cup, England have been the best team.
Okay.
And I think...
But in terms of what? In terms of...
What?
I don't know what is it in terms of attacking football?
It's not difficult to understand, is it? England have been the best team in this World Cup.
Morocco being the best team tactically.
England have been the best team, and I think that's not true for me.
The only problem with that is, other than the Belgium game, Morocco haven't controlled any of those games.
But they've won them.
No, I appreciate that.
But then beat USA. We've played 5 games and we've only won. How many games we played? 5 and we won 3, right? Which is all right. Do you know what I mean? But Wales were a spent force when we played them. They were awful against Iran. And then we played them 4 days later and they were gone. Again, you can only beat what's in front of you. I'm not knocking it. Senegal, missing the 2 best players. Yeah? Idrissa Gueye and I know Sane didn't go. Sadio Mane, so he didn't go. But you can only beat what's in front of you. So it's a good win, but it's against weak Wales, weak Senegal. The Iran result, very good. A big win against a decent team, I thought, Iran. Yeah. But I think for us to say, we've been the best team in the World Cup, I just think it's nonsense.
No, I would disagree with that, obviously, now. Yeah, I think up until the quarterfinal stage, so not including any of those results, I think England had been the most competent and impressive team in the tournament. I would agree with that. I don't think anyone had been any better.
I understand.
The blinkers on that.
But what do you mean?
Pre-quarterfinals, who would you have said had been the best team?
Pre-quarterfinals, that's a different argument. That's not.
No, but that's the argument I'm making. Yeah. I'm disagreeing with that because I didn't realise when it was said.
Who else had the record of us? Was it us?
I'd put Brazil in that list.
Brazil. But Brazil lost, didn't they?
No, sorry, I mean it's in like the most entertaining.
Holland had got 7 points. Yeah, England had got 7 points. Morocco got 7 points.
France, what did they do? Did they lose a game as well?
Yeah. Argentina
that's
lost.
maybe an argument there.
Yeah.
But but you're ignoring a big part of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We're taking away one of
Them beating Portugal. No, now
massively
Morocco have been the most
for
impressive team, definitely.
100%. And I just think, but there's that thing like, we've
But
got,
what about entertaining?
We've not
Hello.
really challenged ourselves yet. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's part of the problem is I think there's this expectation on Southgate as well that we should win the World Cup. We've been the best team. We've got the best players. We should win the World Cup.
We should win the World Cup. 100%.
That's my point.
If a manager, I mean, you look back and you sort of, I can look back as a United fan and look at, and it's maybe completely out of there, but look what Fergie did with 4 attacking players as good as Ronaldo, Berbatov, Tevez, and Rooney. When he had them 4, we were unbeatable at times, and we should have won more. We should have won the Champions League in 2009, but we did it double in 2008, although we didn't get Berbatov then. But what I'm saying is, if there's an attacking manager who can use players like Foden, who could be one of the best in the world, Rashford, Grealish, Saka, Kane's all right.
Well,
for me, he's all right.
Well,
I think he's so Spursy, isn't he?
But his record is sensational.
It's very Spursy, isn't he? He'll
it's
score.
Split opinion, though. This, to be honest.
I don't. I like Harry Kane. I like his attitude. I think he's a good team player. Sometimes I feel like a lot is rested against him, and this isn't anything to do with the penalty miss. Everyone misses penalties. Sometimes, I don't know. I think like if he made way, would we be better? But do you know what I mean?
Think so,
but I understand like the what's so weird is that the footballing gods have these like weird terms like Spursy, and it basically means that they'll never do fuck all, and they could be really, really good. But again, I don't think they have it in them to do. Look at Giroud. Like for some reason, he has got something for France, and he gets them into the, and he'll win a World Cup with them again.
More goals for England than Giroud has for France. Or it's where
it matters, though. Where it matters. Harry Kane doesn't score when it matters.
Similar. No, I agree with you.
He needs to score when it matters.
It's weird with Harry Kane because I understand what he's saying. He doesn't score when it matters, and it's such a because he did score a penalty in that game, didn't he? But he missed one. So it's like,
and what do you do with that? Really matters.
It's hard to say when it matters because
like he scored in the quarterfinals, and then you go in, but he didn't score the second one.
Also, he's been one of the driving forces in changing what the term "when it matters" means. Because in 2008, another goal in the fucking qualifiers would have been when it matters.
Yeah,
whereas now he scores so many goals in qualifiers that when it matters only comes around in quarterfinals, semi-finals, finals of tournaments. So if we'd have needed him to. If he hadn't have sort of radically improved or been a big part of improving of England's sort of floor, I think that when it matters would still be, we need to win this to get into the World Cup. Whereas now, that's just standard. And he's a big part of that. I think you can't take that away.
We only missed, in my lifetime, we've only missed one major tournament in 2008.
And that would be Euro 2000 as well.
Well, I was 4. I'm all right.
So it's still your lifetime, though.
Mine's a bit different because we didn't.
But I mean,
like
Wayne Rooney's a better striker than Harry Kane, and he was always bagging it for England.
But he never scored. I don't think he scored a knockout goal.
Wayne Rooney scored 1 World Cup goal, didn't he? I think in 2014.
So where did he get all of his goals when it mattered?
In the Euros, he shone in the Euros, didn't he? I think as well, England have been badly mismanaged, almost constantly. Like, post Bobby Robson, you had Graham Taylor, who's a complete disaster. We got knocked out in the groups in the Euros, didn't qualify in 94. You had El Tel, who did well in 96. We got to the semis. I always think, and I know it's not a popular opinion, that flattered to deceive that run. The game against Holland was mint. Others were okay. I think we robbed Spain. Bad decision. 98, we didn't qualify. Oh, no, we did. Sorry, we qualified. We didn't get out. We got knocked out in the last 16. Everyone blames Beckham, but again, I think Hoddle was a bit out there.
Yeah.
2000, what happened with that? We got knocked out of the groups.
Oh, we did qualify.
Phil Neville with the penalty, but we didn't get out of the groups.
Yeah.
2002, it was the quarters again. It was Brazil.
Yeah.
So it's net like 2006, the quarters again. 2008, we didn't qualify. 2010, the last 16.
Awful.
2014, the group.
So shit in 2010.
Yeah. So you look at 2018 semis. 2020, 21 final.
Yeah.
This time quarters. Yeah. So you can't, when you look at it in the context of how England have performed, because I know what you're saying, Joe, about our attack and stuff, and I agree with you to a certain degree. But I remember in 96, 97, 98, people were going, we've got the best young group of players in the world. Do you know what I mean? Like like I know it's nonsense, but people were saying, when you got Scholes, you got Beckham, you still got getting a tune out of Alan Shearer. Yeah. You've got McManaman, Redknapp. These
Andy
are
Cole.
Players
these are
unbelievable.
These are players like.
But that's the thing. England have never had really shit teams.
Yeah.
So
Like,
why
people were arguing like 2015.
To be fair, 2011 and 2010 and 12, and you look at some of those starting lineups, you think, fuck it up.
Yeah, but they still had like Gerrard, Lampard,
Like,
Terry,
yeah,
Scholes.
the golden generation, what we call our golden, isn't this?
Ashley
it's,
Cole.
It's that one you're talking about. Right? We have Rio, Terry,
And they were still knocking
Lampard.
about in 2012. Rio Ferdinand was one of the best centre backs in the world. Then.
I feel like maybe Kane's done it and maybe Southgate's done it a little bit in raise the bar to the point where you're going, semi-final, final, quarters ain't good enough. I don't know. What do you reckon? That's my question. More of a statement.
I think it's a bit of a be careful what you wish for, because not that I'm happy to just be. I want obviously England to win tournaments, but like you said, Jay, it can get so much worse than this. For anyone who is under the age of 60, no, you don't remember it being better than this.
No.
This is the best it's been in your living memory. If you are under the age of 60, do you know what I mean? Like there are blokes who are like 55 who were born just after the World Cup or too young to remember it, who've never seen it this good.
You look like Harold McMillan. You've never had it so good.
Yeah.
But do you remember 2008 Champions League final? Wes Brown, Ashley Cole, Rio Ferdinand, John Terry, Frank Lampard, Joe Cole, Wayne Rooney.
Yeah.
You've got
Paul
Scholes, Michael Carrick, Owen Hargreaves, right? Yeah. You've got, other than the goalkeeper, 11 world-class players or 10 world-class players in every single position.
It is mad.
Right? How did we get in Euro 2008? We didn't even fucking qualify. We couldn't even get a draw against Croatia at home to get us over the line. Do you know what I mean? So, Iceland knocked us out in the Euros not that long ago. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know these are low bars, but Southgate, I think, has done a solid job. I still think he's got a ceiling, but when you look at it, you think, do you know what I mean? Like, and also, the big question is, if he goes, let's say he decides, because I think it's his choice. He says, I'm off.
100% his choice. The FA will not.
Yeah. Who comes in? Who would you like to see come in? I know you can't predict who will, but who would you like to see come in?
Someone said a stat to me the other day that I think maybe it's common stat that there's never been someone to win a World Cup, a manager of a team to win the World Cup that wasn't born in the nation that he won it for.
Yeah, we were talking about it.
So
it's very rare. It's very rare that you even get someone get to a final.
Yeah, I think there's one finalist. Yeah, 1958 or something.
But who's the English managers? Yeah, you're right.
I wouldn't. Knowing that stat, I would still say who I'm about to say.
Go on.
Part of it is because I just want to see it.
I know who you're going to say.
Who?
Is it Jose Mourinho?
Fucking Jose Mourinho. Honestly, if I could have anyone manage England, I would get Jose Mourinho in. I would love it.
Really?
He's the only one I'd want over Southgate. I think he'd be phenomenal because he's still of that old school where he can make a team better in 20 minutes. Do you know, because he's such a good speaker, he's so good at making it like it's us versus the world. They all doubt you. Yeah. They don't think you can do it. We're going to fucking do it. He'll scream in the fat kid's face, tell him to fuck off, make an example of him, and then after that, you're my boys. We're going to win this. It'd be no shagging, no phones, no sweets. Win the World Cup.
Do you know what's weird?
I think he'd be fucking phenomenal.
I'd worry about us qualifying for the actual tournament.
Yeah, we probably won't.
But if we did, I'd be fucking hell.
Do you know what though? Something happens when you take over the England manager. Because Fabio Capello was an amazing manager, won the Liga, took over England. We absolutely stormed qualifying, winning 10 out of 10, I think it was, or something stupid like that. Yeah. Got to the World Cup and he lost his marbles, like completely.
Then when he was like, "You're not allowed to leave the hotel after dark," and stuff like that.
And
it was literally
put Robert Green in goal, who had a disaster. Crazy, dropped him for then. Who was it? David James, who was equally as rubbish. Emilesky, 4-1 down against Germany, brings on Emilesky. Do you know what I mean?
Did we win?
Good point.
5-4.
It's weird. I get the Jose thing, it'll be funny.
No, it won't just be funny, it would be good.
It will be
because also, the other thing I think is, with an international manager...
I've gone funny, he's got interesting, you've got good.
With an international manager, unless it's like Enrique at Spain, although even then, he hasn't done that well, because Spain has got such a sort of ingrained tactical philosophy that almost sort of supersedes managers.
Yeah.
You need a manager that isn't like a Pep, where it's like it takes them 18 months to learn his style. You can't have that at national level.
Yeah.
You get 6 weeks a year with these players. You have to have a very adaptable, mentality-first style of management. Because a tactical whiteboard manager, like a Potter or a Guardiola or even a Ten Hag, I think he's going to struggle to get that across in a quick time. You need someone like Jose, who is a mentality manager, who just goes, you mark him or you're dead.
Yeah.
That sort of bloke. Where it's like, if Messi scores today, I'm going to do a poo on all of you.
Right.
Like that sort of person.
Yeah.
Like I think that's why Van Gaal's good. I know he's a philosophy guy, but he's literally a get your bollocks out in the dressing room kind of bloke.
The one thing that Southgate...
Trim them with Manscaped.
Exactly. The one thing I like about Southgate, and no other England manager of recent years has done this, he's created a great atmosphere around not just the players, the team, but with the press. Do you know what I mean? Do you remember when he had his team on his clipboard, whatever, on his pad, and it got leaked? And he didn't have a go at the press. He didn't make it an argument. He said, I'm sorry to see you've been getting grief on social media for it. I understand you've got a job to do. I get grief sometimes on social. I know what it's like. And he proper got the press on board with him. And it seems like he's got a good group of players who get on. Yeah. You've heard like the interview with Rio when he said, when I went with England, we just used to sit in the United players together, the Chelsea players together, Liverpool players together. All these England lads tend to get on. I think Jose, I don't know if he would continue that.
Yeah, Jose don't do that.
I think
Jose does the opposite.
He bans the press from any press conferences. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? There is no press conference anymore. No. Do you know what I mean? He's, you know what I mean? I don't know. He stops all the players doing social media posts. That's not happening anymore. I don't want any of this lovey-dovey stuff going on. Forget that. That's over here. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it could go back to the sort of fractured...
old school ways.
Yeah, and that's what
that.
worries me slightly. But
give me France in 2006. Give me... carnage. That's what I want. Because if you don't want Southgate, which is sort of Mr. Consistency, smile on his face, M&S are sold out of waistcoats, give me hell on a skateboard. Yeah. Like the evil Knievel of football managers, give me Jose Mourinho. Just put him in a fucking cannon and fire him at the World Cup in USA, Mexico and Canada. I'd love it.
I love that.
I'd love it. Yeah, who else you picking? Yeah. Oh, Eddie Howe. You're not going to get him out of Newcastle now.
Tuchel. Poch is the favourite.
So we can do what?
Out of a job.
I don't know. I still think
we could have the best team in the world by a mile, and he'd still lose the league.
David Pritt said that. I was watching that TikTok you put up today.
David Pritt said something that doesn't need repeating. He said something. Listen, we've all got our opinions. He wanted Steve Cooper. He looks at the Premier League table and said, the guy that's got that team in 19th, they're the ones for us. To be fair,
he said it's so funny as well.
To be fair to Dave, in his defence, Steve Cooper managed like the under-17s to the World Cup 5 years ago. So his argument is he's got experience of winning an international trophy. It sounds a bit crazy when you say Steve Cooper coming in and taking over. But to be fair, Gareth Southgate's record as a club manager is worse than Steve Cooper's.
That's the problem, isn't it?
Like,
it's not
he only got it through default.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Big Sam doesn't get sacked. Gareth Southgate never gets anywhere near this job.
And we've got 2 World Cups and a Euros. So it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd give it to just give it to someone that's funny. Why are we if we're not bothered about winning, which obviously we're not necessarily Roy Chubby Brown. Let's see what he does with it.
Imagine the look of that team after that's Brexit FC, innit? When you got Mark Noble as your captain. Brought him out of retirement.
He's retired from Cup 4. He hasn't retired from that. Just spinning the propeller on his hat. Just give up. Honestly, if we're not going to stick with Southgate, fucking give up.
Paddy the Baddy Bamford says, just get Bielsa in charge and play a 1-1-8 formation. Not a Leeds fan. Kevin says, he's been a member of the first team 28 months. I would love to see Rooney as England manager one day. I would too. I love Wayne Rooney. Wesley Mank says United and Celtic before all. I hear that one. Also, I've put a link in there to an event in Dublin. We're going to be in Dublin on the 30th of December.
What a place.
Yes, what a place. It's going to be me, Joe Smith, Stephen Howson, Adam McCullough, also Brian McClare, bona fide Manchester United legend. Brian McClare's going to be with us. Click on the link in the chat. Join us over in Dublin. We're great to see your support. It's the first ever live event we've done at Stretford Paddock. Before we wrap up, Wally of the Week.
Can I?
Yeah, please put your hand up.
Can I say, any Manx lads, get on Ryanair. 20 quid flight there, 20 quid flight back at the minute.
Okay.
Went Dublin on Tuesday, cost me 40 quid to get there and back.
Yeah.
Time of my life, still feeling it.
Daniel Kirk says United always over England. Easy decision because I'm Scottish. Yeah. Also, Daniel Kirk says my Wally of the Week is anyone who's ever said a bad word about Marcus, my kid feeder. Go on. Who's your Wally of the Week?
The referee in the France-England game.
Why?
Because he was fucking dead.
Was crap.
He was crap, wasn't he?
Terrible.
He was, and he was dead like animated.
Do you know the funny thing is about
this?
him? He stayed in the tournament. He's still there. Michael Oliver's been sent home.
Yeah, because they're all fucking shit.
The other bloke got sent home as well, the Brazil, the guy that ref the Brazil game.
Yeah, he's
shit.
Right.
Oh, shit.
So
the ref was awful in that game.
He was bad. He was so bad.
He tried his best not to give that second penalty.
I know, he ignored it.
He wouldn't have given it if it wasn't
manhandled.
Nah. Well, he just.
There's a couple of Saka tackles where I thought tackles on Saka.
Sack attack.
I thought, what the fuck's he doing?
Yeah.
I couldn't. My point there couldn't beat Sack attack, so I kind of just dialed it down a little bit.
Okay. Who would you go for as your Wally of the week?
Probably Elon Musk, innit? Not even. And I do.
That's us off Twitter.
I do disagree with a lot of stuff he says, and it's just like shit. But it's the whole like, is he the only person I see on my timeline? I don't even follow him anymore. I don't think. Or if I do, I don't want him to be the only thing that pops up. It's like Twitter is just a sitcom for Elon Musk and no one else at the minute. He's making himself the only storyline. It's doing my head in. I can't.
Right,
You're just ruining Twitter. Not because you're ruining the platform and you've sacked people, because all I see on Twitter is him and people replying to him. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit weird what's gone on there, and he's just sort of gone turbo tweeting and getting involved in all this like almost QAnon stuff.
Yeah, like he's talking. He talks about like, oh, I've been sleeping in beds at Twitter. I'm working so hard. Stop fucking tweeting every 2 seconds. You wouldn't have to sleep in a bed at Twitter if you actually just worked 8 hours and then went home. Instead, he's going for a shit and tweeting every 3 minutes. Takes the piss. Who's yours?
I don't want to get all political. You know,
I thought this had to be football related.
it
Why are we
Dawn
talking
French?
about fucking?
No, God no. I just fucking hate Wes Street in me.
Who?
Shadow Health Secretary.
Right.
He's done an interview. He did that interview with the Sunday Telegraph, didn't he? Talking, demonising the NHS workers who are going on strike. Talking about private healthcare when he takes all those donations off private healthcare companies. There's a surprise. Do you know what I mean? Come on. You might have been representing Labour. It's just shocking to me. Honestly, it winds me up. And I don't think we should be demonising nurses and doctors and people that are just asking for a pay and rise of inflation when they do such a fantastic job. And half these muppets were outside their houses banging pots and pans and clapping for them not long ago when they were working through the pandemic and doing 20-hour shifts and all that, and seeing the colleagues die of COVID. And now it's like, oh, they're asking for too much. We haven't got it. Of course we have. Just start taxing the rich bastards. Anyway.
And if your shadowy cabinet needs some work, make sure you check out Manscaped with
Those
code
balls.
Devils20.
Wait till they warm back up
20%
again
off
if you've been
and free
outside
shipping.
all day.
Yes, nicely said. Joe, where can people find you?
Find me on the Sloppy Joe's podcast.
Joe, where can people find you?
Ditto.
Dada.
New episode coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, that's been Joe. A big shout out to producer Anna as well, as Anna produced this one. I thought the production values had increased dramatically during this podcast there. So, yeah, we can understand why. Don't forget as well to check out Manscaped. Big shout out to them for sponsoring us. Also, if you can get down to Dublin on the 30th, we'd love to see you there. So, yes. Go and check that out. I've been Jay. I almost said Joe then. I've been Jay. That's been Joe. That's been Joe. This has been the Paddock Podcast. Thanks for watching.
There's a train just